Picture a world where a single beheaded ambassador ends a civilization. The year is 1219. Beyond the Tian Shan Mountains, the world's greatest empire turns west. Not out of hunger or rage, but because a merchant caravan never returned. This is the Siege of Bukhara, and unexpectedly, it begins not with swords but with silk. Genghis Khan did not wake up one morning and decide to destroy the Khwarezmian Empire. In the early 13th century, he was already deep in a campaign against the Jin dynasty in northern China, a war that was grinding forward, methodically, successfully. The Khwarezmians were, at least initially, trade partners, not targets. To promote commerce, Genghis sent a caravan of 500 Muslim merchants eastward, loaded with goods and official credentials. It was economic goodwill, an outstretched hand. Inalchuk, the Khwarezmians' governor of the border city of Otrar, did not shake it. Motivated by greed, paranoia, or ambition, Inalchuk arrested the entire caravan, accused them of espionage, and, with Sultan Muhammad II's approval, executed them all. Their goods were seized and sold in Bukhara's markets. Most historians today regard this as almost certainly not a spy operation. Genghis Khan had no pressing reason to provoke a Western conflict while still engaged in China. The caravan was, in all likelihood, exactly what it appeared to be. Yet, as history would have it, it didn't matter what the caravan truly was. What mattered was what happened next. Genghis followed protocol. He sent 3 ambassadors, 1 Muslim, 2 Mongols, directly to Sultan Muhammad. The measured message: release the Otrar survivors and surrender the governor for punishment. Sultan Muhammad humiliated the Mongol ambassadors by shaving their heads and beheading the Muslim envoy before returning the survivors. For Genghis Khan, ambassadors were untouchable, sacred. Their protection was one of the few ironclad laws of the steppe world. In his mind, this was not merely an insult to his messengers. It was an insult to him, to the sky itself, under whose authority he ruled. With outrage ignited, the Mongol army turned west. Their destination was Bukhara, not merely a city, but a statement. Seated at the crossroads of the Silk Road, Bukhara was one of the great urban jewels of the medieval world. Contemporary accounts described it as home to nearly 300,000 people, 45,000 books in its library, and the Poi Kalyan, one of the largest mosques in existence. Scholars came to it from every corner of the known world. Merchants filled their bazaars with goods from China, Persia, and the Mediterranean. And yet, Bukhara sat far from the empire's frontier. Sultan Muhammad, who planned to defend his territory city by city along the borders, allocated fewer than 20,000 soldiers to protect it. He assumed the border would hold. He was wrong about the route the Mongols would take. Genghis Khan's intelligence network excelled. Spies along the Silk Road reported troop positions, city layouts, and garrison strengths to his generals. The Mongols never entered a campaign without thorough human intelligence. And so, rather than approach Bukhara through the expected northern corridors, Genghis did something no one anticipated. He sent a force estimated at between 30,000 and 50,000 soldiers directly across the Kyzylkum Desert. The Kyzylkum, a merciless, sun-blasted expanse. Military planners deemed it impassable for any sizable army. No logistics chain could survive it. No cavalry could cross it quickly, except one. The Mongols crossed. Emerging inside the empire, they bypassed Sultan Muhammad's defensive line, the Bukhara garrison. Approximately 20,000 defenders under the command of an officer named Malik watched the Mongol vanguard appear on the plains before the city walls and understood immediately what was happening. They launched volleys of arrows from the battlements, standard defensive doctrine. The Mongols absorbed the fire behind disciplined shield formations and kept advancing. What followed, then, was a siege defined less by dramatic single moments and more by relentless, systematic pressure. The Mongol force was divided into specialized units. Cavalry in the vanguard for speed and disruption. Infantry behind for sustained assault. The horsemen swept around defensive positions, targeting weak points, pulling defenders out of formation with feint attacks and hit-and-run passes. They were not simply attacking walls. They were attacking concentration, attention, will. Malik's defenders responded with everything at their disposal: boiling water and oil, cascading from the walls, coordinated counterstrikes, and close-quarters resistance at every breach point. By all accounts, they fought with genuine ferocity. It wasn't enough. As the initial assault slowed, Genghis brought in reinforcements, likely from the Jin dynasty front. Numbers are uncertain, but the effect was clear. Relentless assault, fresh waves battering a garrison with no hope of relief. Siege engines moved up, battering rams, rolling towers. Scaling ladders were thrown against the walls at multiple points simultaneously so defenders could not concentrate. The turning point came, the walls broke. Inside, the fight spilled into the streets. City squares became killing grounds. Defenders, outnumbered and exhausted, fell back to the central square, fighting for lost ground. Malik died there. And with him, organized resistance in Bukhara came to an end. Afterward, the fortress garrison was killed. Much of the civilian population was enslaved. Craftsmen were separated and conscripted, too valuable to waste. Fires broke out across the city. But here, unlike what would happen at Samarkand, or Merv, or the cities that resisted longest and hardest, the destruction at Bukhara was, by the standards of this campaign, restrained. Within a few years, the city's trade networks were functioning again. Its role as a center of learning and commerce reasserted itself. Bukhara had fallen, but it would survive. Genghis Khan marked the victory as another link in a chain of conquest that, by 1220, was visibly remaking the map of the known world. The Khwarezmian Empire, which had executed an ambassador and assumed the Mongols would bleed out on the frontiers, was dissolving. And so, all of it traces back to a caravan that never came home, and a sultan who thought he could behead a messenger and face no consequences. He was wrong.